Welcome to this video about the DEMoCap 1.4 features, the new changes. So this has been especially about dealing with hand interactions, for example, with a Quest 3. So in this example, I have a Quest 3 put on, and I'm running DEMoCap over Wyvern to access it. So it's not directly running on the Quest itself. This is a little bit of something for the future, but instead it runs on a PC where you also have your capture results and you have then wireless connection of the stream to your headset. So as you can see, the usual kind of hand stuff you have with Quest if you normally use it for a game situation. So for DEMoCap, I've made a little bit changes on how to interact with the application when you use hand interaction instead of controllers. So the first things you might notice if you use it, that Quest has a tendency to line up the screen like 90 degrees away, which is a problem with the OS, that it doesn't align the play space always in the direction you're looking. To fix this on Quest, you can simply put your the finger together to make a quick recalibrate. The same works also in DEMoCap, and I've for this also added in the menu the option center play space, which you then can click to make the same as you would with the fingertips. So that's what goes for calibrating, centering your play space, fixing this, and the hands interaction works similar like you would have with the Quest where you can put your fingers together. So the drag engine with underneath gives you 4 finger inputs. So you can put each of the fingers to your thumb, and this is the interaction 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, and 3 for both of the hands. So you can have 4 interactions per hand that you can use. In DEMoCap, they are set up like this. The index finger is not assigned because Quest and other VR runtimes usually capture the finger. So you can't use index finger for game situations. So that's ruled out. Leaves us 3 fingers. So the middle finger is used to open the menu. Stitch it together and you get your menu. Works with both hands. So, and you can also, if you keep your fingers together, line it up a little bit how you want to have it before the Quest loses tracking of your hand. This is simply a restriction of the OS, not much you can do in DEMoCap to fix this. So the menu has been now changed a little bit. It's always small, so you cannot change anymore between wide screen and narrow screen. It's always narrow, but if you open up a screen inside the VR menu, which works better on a broader VR menu, it automatically gets larger. So for example, if I try to select a character and I go, for example, into the edit character settings, the screen automatically gets large, so you can easily use it in the right. And when you get out, the screen gets narrow again. So you always have the narrow screen, which is easier to work with in the VR. But if you, for some reason, need a larger screen, then it simply changes and you get the larger one. So that's changes on the VR menu. Now the next one, the ring finger, is assigned to locomotion. So you have 2 kinds of locomotions you can select in DEMoCap. One is teleport movement and non-teleport movement. I will start with the non-teleport movement. So in this situation, the right hand is where you're looking and the left hand is where you're moving. So I can get your fingers together and then I can just rotate around by moving left and right. Again, here the Quest is a little bit tricky with the camera. If you go a little bit off, you lose tracking, so don't move too far. And if you move slightly, then you can move less fast. The same on the other hand, but here we have the movement. So if I bring it together, I can move forward, I can move backward, and to the left and to the right. And I can combine the two. So while moving, I can then look around. So that's the situation with using non-teleport movement. Now with teleport movement, which also means for the non-teleport movement, I've removed the option that you can teleport a project to the ground, because it's now done with a ghost collider, so you don't have problems if you move around. So you can now easily move through objects, which makes it easier to work with. Teleport movement works in that sense the same as before with a controller. So I first make a little change here. If you click, it's like if you have a stick. If you move forward, maybe you see it slightly on the ground, the target where I go to, and if I let go of it, I go there. And I can change the rotation before I let go. It's maybe slightly seeable. Now I'm pointing in the right direction, so I can then decide where I'm gonna look. Let's go back there. Come on. Here. So let's take this one as an example. For the next interaction, this has been the ring finger for movement. Now let's activate this one here. Reset. So, and the last one is quick calibration, which on the controller has been triggered by pressing the menu buttons, by pulling the triggers, both hands, and then also pushing the menu buttons on both controllers. So both triggers plus both menus buttons triggered a quick calibration. On the hand, technically it would be possible to detect two fingers put together, but on the Quest is not so reliable, so I changed it that the pinky finger is the quick calibration. So simply just put both pinkies together, and you get quick calibration. Works the same as before, so hold your hands to the side and make the trigger pull, which is putting the index finger to the thumb. And then you get the finished calibration, which also works if you're, for example, stuck at some position. For example, you made a misconfiguration and your arms are locked, you can't move them anymore. Then you can also bring just your together to start another quick calibration. So you get always out of a broken situation. As you know, with the Quest, it uses cameras to track your fingers, to get your finger movement. So if you move your fingers out of the view of the camera, then it will have troubles to see it. Also, up is a little tricky, you know. See how the Quest quickly loses tracking at the top. Especially also if you go behind the back, it cannot track it anymore logically. So let's disable the VR menu for a small things. So here we have an example where I before registered a little movements with the hands as example what I can do. Here you also see that when you activate playback mode, you get back your normal hands before you had just the laser, but with the normal hands it's easier to see. So the capturing works with the hands rather well in the bounds of what you can do with camera-based tracking. The best would you get if you have VR gloves to tracking finger motions, but this is useful if you want to make hand animations as your first target for capturing and not directly capturing other stuff. So it's best used, for example, for like first-person cutscenes, or if you have like an actor which you only see from the chest upwards. For example, something like if you have a tutorial character which plays back on a screen and you only see the upper half, then this is also a situation where this kind of motion capturing helps easily. So this is it for the hand interactions that you have at your disposal. Let's go back again. So something like this. Let's turn a bit. So that's good. So this is it for the hand interactions. And now a little bit for how things are set up and the changes which have been done. Because there is also a new change. I make a quick calibration. So we see it better. So hands we just had. And since technically the Quest is able to do full body tracking simulation. Now over Wi-Fi you don't get this data, you only get hands, hand position and headset, which is the minimal configuration. And for this minimal configuration, I added a waist simulation, a similar waist simulation. So using the headset and the locations, you can just have a little bit of movement to the side or to the front, and it will just keep your waist at a somewhat reasonable position, which is useful for when you have, again, like a character you want to maybe capture only from, let's take it a little bit here, from the chest upward, then you still can have some kind of movement in it, like it's turning, it's twisting things, so it's not static in the hips. How is this now made? Just quickly for finishing this up, let's go to the settings. So here we have the usual settings, and the automatic human has been extended. So it has a new option, simulate waist, which is by default enabled. This gives you that your hips adjust a little bit while you're moving. The other part about dealing with the hands is changed in the fingers motion transfer. You have here the usual bones you can configure, and in this bones configure there is a new option which is called the wrist bone. This indicates where on your character the wrist bone is located. The reason for this is, while the finger tracking delivers on the Quest gives you these fingers, also stuff like this and so forth, it has a one problem. It does not align your hand correctly, or it does not align the hand according to specification of OpenXR, so the fingers are then broken off. To fix this, you also have to assign here the wrist bone, so this orientation can also be taken over and fixed, and then you get a hand which really looks as if you expect it to. So that's the wrist bone, and you also have to assign the wrist orientation, which means it has a Z-axis, the blue one has to point out of the fingers, and the green axis, which is upwards, has to point out of your hand, so towards the back of your hand. This is the default setting, so if you create a new fingers motion transfer, you will get these settings. But if you have already a character and you load the new DEMoCap, then this will mostly be all 0 here, so just putting in minus 90 for the right hand and the inverse for the left hand. Simply copy what you have for a pinky finger or a pinky finger of a middle finger, and then this will be fixed. This is pretty much the only thing that has been added as new configuration that helps you to do it. It's okay if you put this wrist bone also in if you use a controller setting. It will work nevertheless because it is only used for hand tracking. So, with this regard, that's it. With you can use now motion capture of your fingers using a Quest S3, S3S in my example, let's see, in this test, and you can do simple motion captures of characters with an upper body only type setup, like a portrait shot or a tutorial shot of a person, which is only shown on the lower type of the screen, where you only see the upper part of it, as well as first-person motion, first-person cutscenes, or first-person interactions if you want to make game interactions with your first-person hands. Everything that is just not needing necessarily the full position, you can do with this system. As mentioned, it requires Wi-Fi or ALVR or whatever you can use to connect and stream your PC application to your headset you can use. So this is it for the DEMoCap 1.4 with the new changes, hand tracking, and the various other changes which allow you to use DEMoCap with your hands if you want to. So in this regard, have a nice time. See you.